The other day somebody asked me if I was still gardening, so I figured it was probably time to show you the latest iteration of the garden that I've been working on for the last decade or so. The whole thing is built out of cedar decking boards. Some of them are salvaged from the previous build, some of them are new, and basically 2 layers, almost 12 inches in height. The trellises are made out of cattle fencing, or 16 foot bent over, so it gives you a little bit over 7 foot, so it's pretty easy to walk under. I still have the old PVC piping running underneath the soil, going through some soaker hoses, and they're connected to the house where I have a digital controller for watering. The panels are attached at the bottom with another board, and as you can probably see, cucumbers really like this. It gives them enough space, you can climb, everything's galvanized so it will not rust. The trellises are also attached to each other in the places where they meet with zip ties, as you can see pretty soon. And I also have the green post that you can find in the garden center for some extra rigidity. Now the fencing is pretty solid, but it's actually detachable and nothing complicated. It's just held by a screw. It's got a little tab for indexing at the bottom and a bracket that I made out of stainless steel. Nothing crazy, just slide it in there and it locks. As far as what I'm growing in here, this is my garlic. It's late July when I filmed this, and it was already down for a while. It's been kind of a rough year. It's probably time for me to take it out in here. So it's fairly easy. Pop the fence, you have easy access. You can remove them, and once you're done, you put it back in there. Makes it a lot easier for weeding and things like that. So I think that was a good idea, even though the majority of the garden beds are probably 3 feet wide. Yeah, the other thing that I'm growing, you can tell, some eggplants, some beans that we were trying to see how they would do, and the staple of every garden, tomatoes. The cool part about this tomatoes is that the majority of them come from seeds that were saved over the winter from things that we bought from the store. Some of them are from Costco, some of them are from Kroger, some of them are from Trader Joe's, just things that we liked. And I'll be the first one to admit that I did not believe that the majority of them were going to germinate. So I was pleasantly surprised because pretty much everything popped up. And there's a variety of them. There's cherry, there's purple ones, there's long ones, there's round, there's big, there's small. So I was very happy. And some jalapenos, because you got to have a little bit of hot pepper, some mini peppers, some Italian roasters, some bell peppers. I think this one is actually a purple one, but we'll see if it actually turns purple or not. And this one was supposed to be an orange bell pepper, but I think it was mislabeled because this looks like a Romanian pepper. And cucumbers, probably the number one vegetable in the household. Everybody loves them. I could probably plant the whole garden in cucumber and everybody would be happy. And you got to have some herbs, some basil, some cilantro, because you got to make that homemade salsa. Is nothing better than some fresh cilantro. My dill is already flowering, but I just don't feel like cutting it. Just gonna let it go to seed. And something that I just planted this year is leeks, and they're doing pretty well. I was kind of surprised. This thing is a walking onion that I actually got from one of my neighbors that was taking it out of the garden, and she was like, "Do you want them?" And I ended up taking them. So that's basically a transplant from earlier this summer. And this is pretty much it. A 20 by 20 that I was able to salvage next to the trampolines and the inflatable pools and the slides and the wood and fences and apple trees and pear trees and all this other stuff. So I hope that this inspires you. If you want to grow some vegetables, want to grow some fruit, just do it. It's pretty rewarding to just go in there and grab something and eat it, knowing that you put the effort in it. And I will see you in another decade.